Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I'm a clinical psychologist. I've been a clinical psychologist for about 16 years, and my expertise now and my focus is on preventing psychological disorders. So our company Healthy Minds teaches people all around the world the psychological skills that prevent things like anxiety and depression. But also we want to give people a toolkit so that they can create high levels of mental health, because when we're very well, we tend to function well and we tend to perform well. And we work now with schools and companies around the world to deliver that message.
My name is Nick Lee. I have a corporate background, so I was a director at Unilever for 9 years, and my entry into health unfortunately came out of tragedy. My wife was diagnosed with stage 4 bowel cancer at the age of 42. And died just before her 42nd birthday. Shortly after that, I set up a foundation called the Joe Lee Foundation, which is all about preventing Australia's second biggest cancer killer, yet it's highly preventable. So one of our key initiatives was a corporate program. So I spent a lot of time with corporates understanding their requirements in relation to corporate health and personally presenting to employees to protect them against bowel cancer. I fell in love with preventative health. I met Tom about 5 years ago, loved what he'd created in terms of Healthy Minds, and with my background in corporate health and his background in developing Healthy Minds and working with schools, we co-developed the corporate program and have been very busy rolling that out ever since. Our corporate program is now 80% of our business, and we're really proud of the feedback that we get from our participants that go through our program, and in some cases that's life-changing for them. So we're really buoyed by the feedback that we get and the impact that we have the opportunity to give through the program.
What were your goals and strategic goals that you were working on before you engaged with the Octalysis Group?
Our goals have always revolved around preventing psychological disorders. So it's really been about how can we most effectively teach this very specific knowledge and set of skills that we know if people apply that knowledge and skills, it's likely to make them mentally healthy, and it's reducing risk for things like anxiety and depression. So our work has always been about how do we teach these skills most effectively, and how can we think about scaling to have the greatest impact on the world. So for us, there've been two question marks that have always been at the forefront of our work. And certainly the answer to those questions has been part of what led us to the Octalysis Group.
What led you towards working with the Octalysis Group?
Nick and I for years have been having conversations around how can we more effectively deliver our teaching and our message. But then we came across Octalysis, and in particular Yukai Chao's book about human actionable gamification. I'll say that again. And particularly when we came across Yukai Chao's book, Actionable Gamification, and understanding the principles of human-focused design, for us it was just a game changer. It just made sense. I started looking at the Octalysis website, actually, Yukai Chao's website, and saw there was a lot of free and detailed information. I don't think I was yet all the way through the book before I received a notification that there was a behavioural design masterclass on offer. And that was run throughout, I think it was the month of August, and it was with Yukai Chao and Chris Tommaso. And I had a conversation with Nick and said, look, I think this is the way to go. And I think it would be a worthwhile investment, and it's a great way for us to then really hatch this plan, this idea of a new generation of the Wellbeing Challenge, taking it off a simple set of emails that we would send people and creating a new digital experience from the ground up. And this has really been the foundation of our web app. So I spent what felt like pretty long days. It was quite an effortful course, but I think that's good because it was very content rich. It was demanding of participants because we had to apply the steps of the Octalysis design process and then really think through the motivational drives and then down into the detail of specific game techniques. by the end of that month, I felt like I had maybe 70% of a framework of what our new Wellbeing Challenge app might look like. After that, I thought, well, if we really want to make this the best that it can possibly be, why don't we see if we work directly with the Octalysis Group? That was then our introduction to Albertine Core, and we've had a very fruitful and successful relationship ever since.
Have your goals changed since working with the Octalysis Group and gamification?
I think coming across the Octalysis framework, it was able to give us clarity as to the specifics of our design goals. So we knew that we wanted to engage people, but we didn't know precisely how. What was the best way to get that engagement and retention, and learning is the other thing as well. So I think it just gave us a set of guiding principles. It helped us to then channel those core drives down into specifics around what we could do and when. And I think it's even changed our messaging a little bit. You know, we're thinking about how the core drives apply to things like communication to our clients or marketing ideas. Are we appealing to their sense of, are we appealing to their sense of meaning and purpose? Is there epic meaning and calling in what we're inviting our clients to participate in? Are we leveraging social influence and relatedness in terms of helping people understand that working with their peers can influence their behaviour as well, can hold them accountable? Having been a psychologist for more than 16 years now, I have to say that the Octalysis framework for me was a more cohesive and integrated summation of human motivation than anything that mainstream psychology taught me. So I was used to kind of theories here and there, and learning about it. This is something that applies through all areas of psychology, whether it's engagement in treatment, whether it's compliance with recommendations, whether it's completing research participation. Motivation and engagement is always the core prerogative there in terms of maximising outcomes. And for me, having been through a lot of formal study, the Octalysis framework was just a cohesive and integrated and pragmatic way of thinking about human motivation. And it's the sort of thing that when you become aware of it, it's immediately useful, and you'll probably never go back to thinking the way you did before.
I think the best indicator of success is how excited we're now feeling about the web app that we're developing alongside Octalysis. And our goals haven't necessarily changed, but I think the potential for this web app is growing in our mind. And we've had the opportunity to share some of these human-focused design concepts with some of our clients. So particularly the team-based component that we're working on has been extremely well received with our clients. And as Tom said, I think for us, the principles of Octalysis will apply long after the relationship for the web app has finished for us. So that's, I guess, the best test of the learnings that we've had through this process, and the way those principles resonate with us. We will be using them across our business and continue to do so.
And I think one of the areas where it comes back to is we have a mission that we believe passionately in, and it's the reason we get out of bed in the morning. Ultimately, applying human-focused design means that we can be more effective at delivering on that mission. So anything that enables us to engage more people, to scale what we're trying to do, and to maximise the impact is something that helps us deliver on what gets us out of bed in the morning. And I really foresee that applying Octalysis and the Octalysis design process to our web app is going to really maximise the impact. It's not uncommon to have less than satisfactory experiences when interacting with digital platforms, websites, learning apparatus, and yet, if we can even deliver half of what I think we'll be able to do, then I think it'll be a big success.
You chose the instructional consulting modality when working with us. What was it like to work with us as a team?
It's been a fantastic journey. I think a couple of things stand out for me. Instructional consulting is a process whereby you as the client learn a lot, and you're really participating in the process very heavily. Ultimately, it's about a collaboration. And so I certainly don't believe that without that level of input from Albertine, that we would end up with the quality and standard of where the project is at the moment. I think there's peace of mind at having an Octalysis consultant involved in those development steps when you're working with technology. And also for us as a business that is still working, we've still got our jobs happening, we've got work going on around the world. This one project is one aspect of our focus. And so to have an Octalysis consultant kind of involved every step of the way has meant that it keeps us on task. And that's been a really important part of it as well.
Yeah, and whilst we have the experience in delivering our programs, this platform and working with Octalysis has brought us that expertise to be able to create something that we can not only scale, but have the potential to have significant impact. And I think that was a gap for us. We know the content resonates, but how do we engage our participants in a way that those principles and skills that we're teaching are deeply embedded? And we feel like the aspects that Octalysis have brought to our web app are really, really key components to delivering on that objective. And you know, that momentum that has been created, we're very busy. We've got other parts of our business going on. You know, this is not the only initiative that we're working on. To be able to have Albertine's expertise and the expertise of the Octalysis Group continuing to maintain that momentum through the development of this web app has been absolutely critical. We certainly wouldn't be as advanced as where we are currently without that.
Okay, and do you say you can see the impact already of the web app, or is it because it's still in development?
Yeah, I guess it's still in development. We have had the opportunity to share it with quite a number of our key clients, and that is really rewarding for us to see the level of excitement that we're getting from our key clients around what we're creating. So whilst we haven't created something at this stage and we're in that process, to see the enthusiasm that we have shared with our clients has been very rewarding and fills us with optimism.
Is there one specific thing, if you had to choose, that has brought most value to the company? Although, of course, these things cannot be quantified.
Yeah, it's very tricky to nail it down to one thing because, of course, we've got 8 core drives at our disposal. But if I had to narrow it down to one thing, I think we've really leveraged in this design process core drive 5, social influence and relatedness. We've really added an element to our learning and the way we will teach these psychological skills that increases accountability within small groups. I refer to it as benevolent conformity pressure. There's this pressure to comply, but it's for a good cause. It's gonna help the participants, but we've also threaded in a philanthropic component to our work, so it's going to help other people as well. And so that's just one example of where I think some of this thinking is already taking place and manifesting in terms of what we're going to create.
And I think for me, if I sort of think about it from a strategic level, the partnership with Octalysis, I think not only are we getting the Octalysis principles and the expertise of Albertine to help us design and create this app, but I've been very impressed with the speed and depth at which Albertine has been able to grasp not only what we're trying to create with the web app, but more deeply the Healthy Minds business and what we're trying to achieve, which is I think really going to enhance the outcome that we get at the end of this process. So it's not only that expertise, but that insight I've been very impressed with. So that to me has been a really big one. And we've been able to build, I think, a really good working relationship and rapport with Albertine. She's been very happy to challenge us where we need to challenge us, give us a nudge where we need to give a nudge, and offer alternative opinions. So for me, that's been very valuable.
Yeah, I want to second that. I think Albertine has been amazing, and I've been incredibly impressed by how quickly she has absorbed the purpose of our business and what we're trying to achieve. So to have somebody who is so across the detail of your own work to be able to participate in this has been really amazing. So that's been something that's really blown me away. Just her ability to grasp what we're trying to do and to have the initiative to think about the next step. I often feel like she's one step ahead of us, and that's very reassuring.
For both of you, was there any aha moment, like, oh yes?
I think it was just when I fully grasped the 8 core drives and how it all comes together. I just saw that it was broadly applicable, and if you look at other popular thinkers around motivation, engagement, marketing, learning, seeing you, Kai, deconstruct all of these different thinkers on the Octalysis Prime platform and to see how they integrate into this model really shows that it seems to cover all bases. And so for me, that was the aha moment, because it was a little bit like my formal training in psychology. When you learn about motivation, you hear a theory here, a theory there. Some of it's very specific to one context, not to broader human functioning. And so for me, it was seeing something that was sophisticated, but readily understandable and could be applied in a very pragmatic way. That was my aha moment. That was when I sort of became a convert and said, well, this has got to be our guiding framework going forward.
For me, I had sort of 2 aha moments. One was seeing the excitement that Tom had, having done all the research that he had done around these behavioural aspects. He certainly felt like he was onto something, and it definitely resonated with him. So that was kind of the first aha moment, thinking that we might be onto something here based on the enthusiasm that Tom had. The second part for me was more from a business perspective, because there's something like 20,000 wellbeing apps out there. So how is the Healthy Minds app going to be any different to other apps on the market? And I feel like when we come to articulate that, we've got a really good story, and that's probably why some of our clients have got so excited about what we're potentially going to deliver to them through the web app. So they're the sorts of things, like this human-focused elements of team building in particular. Tom talked about that philanthropic component, the fact that it's a business-to-business app as well. So there was quite a number of key components that I felt like helped us cut through a lot of noise that's out there in existing wellbeing apps and differentiates us from others. So we're pretty excited to bring it to market.
I had another aha moment I've just recalled when I was doing the behavioural design masterclass, and it was hearing the guiding principle that you should never take user motivation for granted. So for any desired action within a system, you need to consider what is the guiding motivational drive. Why would they take that action? Not the function-focused approach that they could, but why would someone want to take this action, and how does it make them feel? And just those simple reflections completely change the way you think about digital experiences. And I think that was a pretty powerful insight as well.
Would you say there were any areas of your business where you could already see a return on investment?
I think we've already seen benefits in the sense of if we had just taken our idea and handed it to a web developer, I have a clear sense of what I think they would have produced. It wouldn't have been terrible, but in no way would it have maximised the potential of the idea. So I can already see going through this collaborative process with Albertine representing us and Octalysis and human-focused design and our technology partner, I can already see how things are being changed and tweaked and challenged, that if we didn't have that thinking, those things wouldn't have been challenged, and I'm absolutely certain we would have ended up with a substandard product. So that's the early sign of what's different that we're going to be getting out of our investment.
I think the other thing that is tangible currently is that shift in thinking that Tom talked about, and applying those behavioural components to everything that we do in our business. I mean, we do pride ourselves on being a very customer interface and customer-centric business. So to be able to take those principles and apply them, not just to our web app, but everything that we do has delivered tangible results already.
I know you've already recommended us to someone, and thank you for that. Would you recommend us again? And why would you tell anyone to work with us who's watching this or reading this today?
I'm hoping that there'll be others contacting you as well, because it's not just the one business that I've spoken to that have contacted you, and I'm really pleased to see that they took it to the next stage as well. So I guess when you get excited about something, you're very willing to talk to others about it, and I can see that there's real potential in others forming a partnership with the Octalysis Group. So I have spoken to a number of businesses and will continue to do so. I see
the Octalysis framework and working directly with the Octalysis Group is a massive competitive advantage. So this is something I would recommend to my friends, but probably wouldn't recommend to my competitors. That's how I think of it. So the people we're talking to who are in different spheres of business, who we know and like, we're absolutely saying you should do this. But I think it's a bit of a secret weapon. So in one sense, I'm not shouting it from the rooftops to our competitors.